Ladies and boys with tattoos, Andy here, author of the best Tinder guide on the internet and founder of America. This is the Kill Your Inner Loser show. Let's fucking go. I'm joined by my co-host, my debutante of the ball, a little lady that we all like to call Imogen, but her actual name is
Imogen.
Imi. No, it's Imi. We, young lady, are going to talk about tattoos. So I recently got a tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Look at this fucking sexy tattoo. Look at that. That's me. That's my arm with the tattoo on it that I recently got.
Correct.
We actually got this tattoo. I got this tattoo a couple of weeks ago, but we just hadn't sat down to do a video.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that I got this tattoo, or the significance of this tattoo, is as a commitment of our relationship. You and I have been together for I can't see anything because of this hat, but 4 and a bit years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd been planning to get this tattoo for a while. You have a very similar tattoo. I will show yours on the screen. Look at that. That's yours.
Mm-hmm.
And you might say, how's that similar? Look, there's Andy's, there's Imogen's. How's that similar, you fucking like ginger freak? You little bald-headed American hat-wearing debutante of the ball. The way that they're similar, boys and girls, what's similar? Look at this. I'll rapid fire these. Any of you who have, what's the thing where you fucking...
Epilepsy?
Epilepsy. You probably just had an epilepsy right there. The thing that's common is that we both have a moon in our tattoo. And what is the significance of the moon? Took way too long to answer, so this... Go, what is the significance of the moon?
Well, there's a story to it.
All right, how about we tell the story? How about we stop being silly, we put the hat up, and we talk seriously. So...
This is quite a few years back. We were having a trip together.
An LSD trip, one might say.
Yes.
Don't do drugs. Drugs are horrible and they're bad for you. And the government says that they're bad, and make sure you never do anything that the government says is bad. LSD is fucking sick though. Do as much LSD as you can. Yep.
And we were talking about our goals. And you had basically said to me, you can have anything you want. You just need to decide that you want it.
Yep.
And go after it.
Mm-hmm.
We could go to the moon.
Yep.
And that was just a very special idea at the time, because it was a period where I was being more open to the idea that I didn't have to follow a rigid path, that I could basically do whatever I wanted to do, whatever made me happy.
Mm-hmm.
And you could basically make your wildest dreams come true as long as you put in the work.
Mm-hmm.
And you had basically said that you're going to help me do that.
Mm-hmm.
You just need to tell me what you want.
Yeah, and so the point was, because, you know, it's kind of a cliche that people say, like, we're going to the moon, baby. That's kind of like, you know, like Bitcoin, a moonshot's going to the moon, all that kind of stuff. And I had said to you, like, basically, we're going to the moon. Or another thing that I said at the same time was, you know, whatever you want, I'll help you get it. Like, you're allowed to have whatever you want. You just have to obviously put in the work. And I said to you, if you want the moon, I'll get you the fucking moon. You're allowed to have the moon. You're literally allowed to have the moon. You can have whatever you want. You just have to put in the effort. And that applies to all of you. Like, whatever the hell you guys want, you're allowed to have. You just have to put in a bit of work and a bit of effort. And so that's what my tattoo on screen here represents. Mm-hmm. It's me, the boy, handing you the moon and going, there you go. You wanted the fucking moon. You're allowed the moon. Whatever you like, you're allowed to have. Your tattoo is somewhat similar. Yours is a rocket ship going to the moon from all the times that you and I have said, like, we're going to the moon, baby. Like, we're going to make a ton of money. We're going to change a bunch of lives. We're going to build elite bodies. We're going to have a great fucking life. And so we both got these tattoos on. They're not just it's not a cute concept. We wouldn't just get these tattoos because they're, you know, a nice, fun concept. This was our commitment to each other. So we're going to talk in a second about marriage and stuff like that. I have no plans of getting married. I don't want to get married. I don't think I ever will get married. And I kind of knew that when I was about 14, 15 years old. I was a very cynical little child in school. And I knew marriage, I didn't believe in marriage as an institution, at least not in the West, the way that it currently is. Even when I was 14, I was cynical enough to say, I think most people who get married get divorced, which is true. You can look up the stats. And I thought, I don't really believe in marriage. It doesn't mean anything to me. My parents are happily married. They've been together for a long time, but I never thought of them as being together because they're married. I thought of my parents as being together because they committed to each other. My parents weren't two people that fully, they believed in marriage, but it's not like my mother was sitting there going like, I want to have a big wedding and a beautiful dress and all of this. My parents were very much like quiet, conservative, like, no, we're just going to build a great relationship. We're going to be the best parents we can be. We're going to have a nice house, a pet, 2 kids. We're going to make it work and do everything we can. And so what I saw from my parents' lesson was like commitment was the most important thing. It's not just you got married. Marriage is just like a shortcut to commitment. But yeah, so I knew early on that I wasn't interested in marriage just because I personally didn't believe in an institution that mostly results in divorce, in failure. Anything higher than a 50% failure rate just seems insane to me. It's a very good chance you will fail. Now, if any of you listening want to get married, absolutely have at it. So many of my coaching clients come to me and say, my ultimate goal is marriage and kids. And I say, right, you got to go all in. You got to do, while my girlfriend is dying here because she didn't go all in. She went all in on coughing on fucking camera. I say to those clients, the guys that say, I want marriage and kids, do everything you can to make that happen. Have the absolute best marriage of all time, be the best husband you can be the best father, all of that. So there's nothing wrong with marriage. I just personally didn't want to get married. And so this was my commitment to you and your commitment to me to get these 2 tattoos. Let's stick them side by side so it's like romantic. Look at that. Isn't that fucking romantic?
They're also both on our forearms, so when we hold hands, they like kiss.
That's so gay. That's
kiss.
so gay that you've said that. That's really gay. It's romantic though, but sure. But the point was that we decided quite a while ago that we were going to eventually get 2 tattoos. And we said, remember, you didn't want to get your tattoo till we'd been together because we decided this probably like 2.5 years into the relationship. We were like, yeah, I think we're pretty much going to stick together. We've built enough at this point. It's been like 2.5 years. And you wanted to hold off until...
Yeah, I was very hesitant, but I think that was in my nature. That was even like my first tattoo, and that had nothing to do with you. But I was very, very cautious to get it, just because that's the way that I am. I'm aware that's on my body forever, or you can get it removed, but removal isn't perfect, and it's just scary. I think even at that point in time, 2-3 years in, I still had a lot of fears and doubts about breaking up and how stupid I would feel if I had this tattoo that was for us, and then we broke up. So yeah, there was a lots of worries around it.
Sure. And on that note, this is where I talk about like going all in or having a winner's mindset and deciding that you will win. Like this will be the best relationship of all time. You will do whatever it takes to make this work. You won't sit there and be passive and go, oh, I hope we don't break up one day. What if when we're older we don't like each other as much? I hear this a lot from people. It's a very common sort of concern of like, what if like in the future we don't like each other as much? You know that you're an active participant in your own life. That might sound like a radical notion to a lot of you when it comes to relationships, but a relationship doesn't just happen or just break up or just go well or just go badly. You had an active role in that. If you want a good relationship, build a good relationship. If you want to stick together, do everything you can to stick together. If you want to be happy, do everything you can to be happy. Decide, draw a line in the sand, say going forward, I'm going to do everything I possibly can to make this the best relationship I possibly can make it. I'm going to be as happy as I can. You can't make the other person as happy, but like I'm going to do my part and do my side of things to be as happy as I can and share that with them and inspire them and drag them, like pull them along, lift them up, all of that kind of stuff. I'm going to build my own life and independence and ambitions and crush it and inspire them. And if I do absolutely everything I can and they still break up, that's fine. Like I can't control the other person, but I'm going to sure as hell pull my weight. Not many people have that fucking concept in their head in a relationship. They're just like, I hope that she sticks with me, or I'm really scared that she'll break up with me. It's like, do whatever you fucking can to do your side of the equation, and then most of the time it will work out.
Yeah, it's funny. There's this more like passive, I think it ties into like the fairy tale kind of idea of like relationships just happen and they're meant to be magical and wonderful, and there's the one and they're just meant to be, and it's going to all work out perfectly at the end. Like it's never going to be work, it's never going to be hard, it's just going to be like bliss and sunshine and rainbows.
Which sounds like passive. That sounds passive as fuck to me. Like I get to just sit there and have a beautiful relationship while doing fucking nothing.
And I don't think anything in life works like that.
No.
You do literally nothing and something is like beautiful and amazing.
Imagine if we had these similar notions, these fairy tale notions of like the one and romance and it's beautiful, and our relationship is fucking beautiful, let's be clear. But it's not passive. You don't just sit there and wake up every day and be like, man, it's lovely being with Andy. This is just great. And I don't just wake up every day and be like, this is perfect. It's like, no, I want to make it fucking perfect. I want to have a self-improvement mindset. Imagine if you had that notion with like building a business or like making money. I can just, wait for the right business to come along. I'll wait for the right promotion to come along. I'll wait for the right opportunity to come along. It's like, no, I need to fucking make it happen. If I want to get rich, I got to decide to become rich. Or friends or something. I just hope that I can just have a great social life. It's like you have to actually go to the fucking parties. You have to actually turn up and talk to your friends. You don't just sit there and wait for your friends to come into your life and be like, let's build a beautiful social, circle without any like effort at all. It's such a radical, weird concept, but people do that in relationships. I'm just going to get this by default while doing nothing. I just sit on my hands and Disney will fucking...
Yeah, I deserve love.
Yeah, fuck it. You got like... No one deserves to not be loved. Think about how I'll phrase this. You're not entitled to love. There you go. That's the way I'd say it. People use the word deserve, and I think deserve is the wrong word. Let's use the word entitled. You're not entitled to love. If you want love, earn it. Now, you are all fully capable of love. You all deserve love, but you have to do something to get it. You have to actually go and talk to another human being and build something. Love is built. Love is not just like, you don't find love. It's this weird stereotype that everyone says, like, you go out and you found love. No, you build love. It's something you fucking build. You don't just find love. What you're talking about is attachment. It's infatuation. It's tingles and hormones. But the way you build love, or the way you get love is by building it. You don't just get love. I found love. You found excitement. That goes away. That fades. We're 4.5 years into this relationship. It's like, and I love you infinitely more than I did at the start. Would you say the same?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
because we built it every fucking day.
And it's been a continual process of improving
Yes.
and being more committed, more loyal, going through more together, seeing more of one another's successes.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like you talk about, we're always building something. I think a good example of that is like the check-in that we do weekly.
Yep, so we do a weekly accountability check-in once a week. Yep. We talk about our goals.
Yeah, and it is also just time to spend with one another. Like we never schedule anything else on that day, so we can continue building something.
Yep.
And spending time together and actually putting in the effort to make sure that we do like each other as much as we do.
Yep. Yeah, it's something you build. It's like, guys, again, you wouldn't just sit there and have start a business and then go, I'm just going to get complacent and let the business build itself. Nobody in the world would say, I'm going to let the business build itself. That sounds like an insane thing to say, doesn't it? You'd go, no, I need to sit down and work on the fucking business. I need to do some, promotion of my material, or I need to help other people, or I need to sell products, or I need to work with my customers, or I need to work with my staff. The stuff I have to do. I don't just sit there and go to work and just sit in my chair and go gee, it's great being in a business. I can't wait for this to just get better and better over time. No, the business will fucking fall apart. It will decay. A relationship is the same thing. And we're not saying a relationship is work. I don't like that phrasing. But a relationship is something to be built. It's something to be improved. It's a growth mindset. You have to have a growth mindset.
Effort is maybe a better word than work.
I wouldn't say effort. I call that watering your plants. If you want your plants to grow and flourish and be huge, and you want healthy plants, you have to water them.
Sure, it takes time. It takes
it takes care. Use the word care. I think care. Yeah.
Okay.
I think care is look at my compelled speech. I'm telling you what to say. Use the word care. I sound like the fucking government. Use this word. But it's care.
Sure.
A relationship takes care. It takes a growth mindset. It takes a winner's mindset, deciding. When I say winner's mindset, I mean you sit there and you say, this will be the best relationship that I can possibly... doesn't have to be the best relationship on the entire planet, but even having that mindset, the arrogance to say, I'm going to make this the best relationship of all time, at least you'll fucking try and you'll go all in. Whether or not you succeed doesn't matter. You're at least making that commitment. The same as if you say, I'm going to go all in with this business and build the best. If the business fails, at least you fucking tried. And now you're taking a lot of... You've grown through that process, and then the next business that you start, you're going to do a 10 times better job because of everything you've learned. Same with a relationship. If you go all in and it doesn't work, you can absolutely say, I gave it everything I had, and fuck me, man, I learned a lot, and now I'm 10 times better for when I enter the next relationship. As opposed to the opposite of just I'll get complacent, I'll sit here and just, the relationship will build itself. And no, it won't. It will fucking decay. If you're not going up, there's no treading water. Like there's no, people think if I'm just in a relationship, it's steady and we're just like, no, you're going down. You just can't tell yet. But you will look back a year or two from now and you go, man, like we had so many tingles and infatuation and it was so exciting at the start and now it's not.
Yep.
I've had this conversation with you so many times. When I look at you now, I literally feel more excitement than when I first met you. You know that because I fucking will just stare at you and smile and then you'll start crying and then sometimes I'll fucking start crying and then I'll be like, I fucking love you. And you'll be like, yeah, I love you too. And like, we don't say anything. We just stare at each other and just start fucking crying because it's like all the shit that we've built for the last 4 years or 4.5 years. It's like 4 and a bit years.
Sure.
But like, if we didn't have that winner's mindset or that growth mindset of like, let's make this better every single day. Yeah, I wouldn't feel the same. And the number of like hurdles and shit that you and I have, the number of points that we have gotten to where we could have quit. Or I would say if we didn't have a winner's mindset, if we weren't trying to make this the best relationship of all time, at those points we probably would have quit.
Yeah, there's been thousands of opportunities where it feels like there's been like branching pathways where we could have made it.
We could have
work,
just let it go down.
or just basically let it get worse and worse.
Yeah.
And worse.
And we wouldn't have broken up in those moments. I can make that clear. But it's like, it's the start of like not caring. And you can always turn it around, of course. But it's like the moment you stop caring about your business, it will start going down. And you can turn that around. You can say, okay, I've been lazy. We all get complacent. We've been complacent in this relationship plenty of times. But it's about making that commitment and saying, okay, if we're lazy for a little bit, that's fine. That happens. But like overall, we would like this to be the best relationship we can make it. Mm-hmm. Like let's go all in, obsess about winning. And when I say winning, I mean, I guess let's define what we would call winning. I'm happy, you're happy, you add to my life more than you take away from it, like it's a net positive, and I add to your life more than I take away from it. Those are the only 4 questions that matter. I did a podcast or a video ages ago talking about the only 4 questions that matter in a relationship are those 4. Mm-hmm. So I'll say again, are you happy? Is the other person happy? Are you getting more out of the relationship? Like, is it a net positive? And is it a net positive for them? Are there more positives than negatives? As long as those 4 questions are yes, you're on the right pathway. Yeah. And as long as you always have those 4 questions in your head, you're asking yourself, every week, and we do check in once a week when we do our little check in and we go through all the questions that we have for each other to keep each other accountable, basically, because a relationship is like anything else. You can get complacent.
Of course.
And you do highly benefit from keeping yourself accountable. Like, am I adding to the relationship? Are we building something? Are we better off than a week ago? Or did we just get lazy this week?
Yeah, I think it's really, really, really easy to get complacent.
No, it's so easy. It's so fucking easy.
It's so easy to spend so much time together.
And it feels nice.
And it feels nice, and you can just coexist. Like, you don't have to be... You can kind of just be in one another's vicinity.
Yeah.
And that can be nice for quite a long time. Mm-hmm. And it's not necessarily super obvious when things start declining in, I don't know, in like how good it feels.
In growth.
Yeah. It's very easy to, because it still feels okay just to spend time together.
Yeah.
You can almost trick yourself into thinking
that things are okay.
Yeah, just by a matter of spending time together, you're building something by like increasing the time that you've spent together. But like you said, after a while, things do just like slowly start to go down because you're both stagnating.
Yeah.
You're not like progressing as people.
Yeah, it's so tempting to just sit there and watch Netflix and cuddle on the couch every night. And we've had a couple of periods of that where we do that for like a week or 2 or even 3 weeks. And then I say to you, fuck, I don't feel good. We don't watch Netflix, but we watch movies. And I'll say, I don't feel good. Like, does it feel good to you that we've just sat here and watched YouTube or watched movies for the last like week or 2? Like every time we've spent together has just been watching a movie. And then you will always say, I don't really feel good about that either. Then I'll say, fuck, all right, okay. No more movies. Let's agree. Let's keep each other accountable. No more movies for a little bit. Let's just get back on track. Let's push each other with our goals. You push me with my podcast and my YouTube channel. I'll push you with, your art and making friends and doing all the shit you're doing. Let's keep each other accountable. Yeah. And so a weekly check-in, I highly recommend everyone who's in a relationship, like we're talking about a serious, I'm not so much talking about like a casual friends with benefits. We are talking about actual relationships here. Every one of you who's in a relationship or thinking about getting into one, I recommend that you do a weekly check-in with your partner, honestly. Like, I don't know how you'd build a relationship without doing that. Like, would you guys go to the gym without any accountability? Would you start a business without checking in and making sure you're on track, without KPIs and metrics and ways of knowing that you're improving?
Or I think if you're the right person, you will, but it's 100 times easier if you have someone every week being like, hey, did you do the thing that you said you were going to do?
Yeah, but if you were the right person, you wouldn't be listening to this podcast. You say the right person, but like, if you're someone who's great at relationships, why would you be listening to this?
Sure.
You'd just be out there living it, being like, yeah, I don't need to listen to that. Like, if you're listening to self-improvement, it's because you want to improve. And so, yeah. And I wasn't great at relationships at the start. Neither were you. You'd never been in one. And I'd only ever been in 2 toxic ones for about, like 8 or 9 years combined. And so we had to figure out how to get good at this. And so I attacked it with the same sort of metrics that I do with everything else. It's like, have a winner's mindset, go all in, decide that you're going to make it work, decide that you're going to do the best job you can. Every problem has a solution. We haven't even talked about that yet. That's been a core tenet of our relationship. Every single time we've had some sort of problem or we've been unhappy with something, I remind you of the fact that, look, every problem on this fucking earth has a solution. If there's something that's bothering you, we can fix it. If there's something in our relationship that doesn't feel good, we can fix it. If you're sitting there and literally thinking like, I don't know if this relationship will work, which you did at the start, you had some of those questions. And it's like, well, then we'll figure out how to make it work.
Yeah.
We'll figure out what the problem was or what the solution is. And every single problem we have, how many times have I said to you now? It's actually really easy now because we have all that evidence of all the things we've worked through. Now, whenever there's something that you think is a big problem, I can just say, hey, haven't we fixed every other problem?
That's fine. Yeah.
And
Yeah,
you
of
go,
course.
yeah, we have. And I go, well, we'll fix this one, yeah? And you go, yeah, I know. Okay, you're right, we will. It's like, it gets easier over time. Let's make that fucking clear.
Of course. Like once we got like obviously maybe being together for like a year, 2 years, you get past all of like the big like, are we sure that neither of us have any massive deal breakers that the other person's not okay with?
Yeah.
Like for example, like if I wanted kids, that would just be like, okay, the solution to that is like we can't be together.
Yeah, because to be clear, I don't want kids. I've made that clear. I had a vasectomy. I've told you that from the start. Yeah, if having kids was super important to you, like a deal breaker, yeah, we couldn't make that work. But that's more like a fundamental incompatibility.
Yeah, once you get like past and you're aware that you're basically like mostly compatible.
Yep.
In all of the big things, then basically everything can be solved if it's a problem.
Yeah, it's just like, no, work through it. Yeah, yeah. And if that ever changed, we would solve that too. It's like even that has a solution. The solution might be you have to break up. It's like that's a solution. It's not a failure, it's a solution. So, yeah, having that mindset. There's something else I was going to say as well that served our relationship. Every problem has a solution. Growth mindset. Go hard or go home. I think we've talked about that. Yeah, it'll come to me in a second, but it's about like making a commitment to yourself that you're going to do the best you possibly can in this relationship. It's also about screening. A big part, we haven't talked about that. So a big part of the reason our relationship worked is because I had slept with and dated a lot of women by the time I met you, like 150 or something. And most of you are probably not going to sleep with that many. You don't need to. But it's about keeping an eye out for, like, to be clear, you don't just get into a relationship. The way I recommend is you date some people, casually, monogamously, whatever you fucking want to do. Date some people, and when you've been together with someone for 6 months or a year and you feel like, okay, we've figured out all the deal breakers, we are fundamentally on the same page in terms of like marriage, kids, growth mindset, goals, where we want to live, like all of that kind of stuff, philosophies and ethics and principles, we're on the same sort of page. There isn't any big incompatibilities here. Okay, maybe we do want to be in a relationship now. Let's upgrade this to a relationship. You upgrade someone to a relationship. You don't just go and seek out a relationship. I've talked about why in the past. You can go watch those videos. But, getting to that point where it's like, okay, we're ready to upgrade this now, that involves some screening. Like, don't just give a relationship to the very first girl that likes you. And girls, don't just fucking give a relationship to the very first guy that you meet, for fuck's sakes. Like, that is the quickest way to misery. Give a relationship to someone, or upgrade to a relationship with someone that you have all these compatibilities with, that you've screened for, basically. And some of the biggest things, I've done podcasts on what to screen for. I did one called, it was something called like reasons to get into it was something with your name in the title. It was like reasons why I'm Imogen. So just search my YouTube channel for reasons why I'm with Imogen, and you'll see it was called qualities to look for in a girl. There you go. It was called qualities to look for in a girl, brackets, reason why I'm with Imogen. And in that video, one of the most important things that I said was you both have to have a growth mindset. This applies for men and women. I don't think a relationship can work if you don't both have a growth mindset. If you don't both think I want to be better a week from now than I am now, or better a year from now, the relationship's not going to work because you won't have a growth mindset with the relationship, and you'll be completely okay with it stagnating. You won't care.
Yeah, absolutely. There's actually this advice that I quite like, that we watched a video and this woman gave advice. She offers like more business and money making advice, but she talked a little bit about how her relationship and how she finds it. And she said, write a list of qualities you want in your partner.
Yep.
Some like has to be like deal breakers, like you need to have these things.
Yep.
And then as like you need to go through a lot of people to actually find the men or women out there with those qualities.
Yes.
And you'll have to screen those people in. And as soon as somebody doesn't have one of those qualities, I was like, okay, nice to meet you, but like, no. And you need to be more selective. And like you said, screen in and be more harsh with it, because what I think a lot of people do, and I've seen friends do it, and it's very tempting, is like they'll have a deal breaker behavior or trait, but when you're more emotional about it or more romantic about
You're
it,
in
and
love.
saying, you're like, oh, but he's really nice and I felt really like good when we were together and we had a great time, so maybe, but like those are the sort of things that you're not going to be okay with a year down the track when you don't have all of like the mushy feelings that make you feel great. And that's why like just having some very clear traits that you're screening for, like a literal list of like needs to have,
like write the actual list on a piece of paper.
Is so important,
especially the big deal. And we're not talking about little things. Like you make compromises. Like, so for instance, we can say you make a compromise with us being in an open relationship. If you got what you wanted, like if you said, I get to have everything I want, and there's like literally everything, you would say monogamous relationship.
Yeah.
If I got to have everything I want, I would make you like 5 kilograms leaner. I would, what else would I change? Like if we just get to go fucking crazy, I'd say you'd be less prone to crying. I'd say you'd be a little more relaxed. If you were going to pick things that I was good at, maybe you'd pick me being younger, you think? Or you don't care?
No.
But like the point is like go crazy here. Pick anything you want. Maybe you'd say I have hair.
Yeah.
You probably like me more with hair.
Yeah.
I would have more muscle.
Yep.
Be leaner.
Yep.
For you, I wouldn't say more muscle. I really like how much muscle you have, but like, yeah, like the point is you can just go fucking crazy. If you're saying like perfect.
Like ultra fussy to the point where you'd be like, they need to have brown hair and green eyes.
And he has to have $1 million in the bank. Yeah, I could say that. I could say you have to have like $1 million. You have to have inherited a fortune from your parents and you're happy to spend that on me. That'd be cool. Like, I'd fucking love that.
Sure.
And so the point is, when we talk about deal breakers, we mean actual deal breakers. The fundamental things that you cannot ever be okay with. Like, if you wanted children and I don't, that's a deal breaker. Like, for instance, and I have done this before with relationships in the past, there was one girl that I was deeply in love with and she wanted kids to the point where she was never going to be okay with not having kids. And she also was not okay with an open relationship. She tolerated it, but she told me, every time you sleep with another girl, Andy, even though I'm not there and I don't see it, and you don't even tell me, I don't want you to tell me when you do it, but when I think about you sleeping with another girl, it feels like it's cheating. It breaks my heart. And every time I think about not having kids, that breaks my heart. Like, and I will never be okay with it, but I will put up with it because it means I get to be with you. And so I was like, no, I have to end this relationship. And I did. We were together for like a year and I was like, no, I have to like end this relationship because you're not going to be okay with this. And maybe she didn't have the courage to do it herself. I think she eventually would have, and that's even worse. Imagine being in a relationship with someone for 5 years and then they go, I can't do this anymore. So we're talking about the big incompatibilities like that. Or like someone says, it's my lifelong mission and I'm absolutely going to do this to like travel around the world. I don't ever want to have a home. I want to just backpack and live everywhere and, live out of a camper van for the rest of my life. And you go, no. I need like a 5-star hotel or at my house. Like I can't travel. I hate traveling.
Yeah,
like that's a big fucking incompatibility.
Yeah, there's definitely like big things that you need to be aware of. Even I would say things that kind of steer more towards personality things. Like for example, I think something for me is like you need to be health or fitness oriented.
I would say the same thing, but to me that fits into a growth mindset.
Sure.
And for all of you listening, your first deal breaker or your first like thing that is mandatory for all of you is any girls that you're with, or any girls listening, any guys that you're with, any people that you guys get with have to be into self-improvement. They have to understand the concept of like, I want to be a little better tomorrow than I am today, or I have to have goals, or I want to be working on something. I never want to get to a point where I stop having goals. Like I never want to be complacent or lazy. They don't have to be quite as driven as you.
Sure.
They don't have to be as crazy competitive as you. Like you're pretty driven. I am definitely more driven than you, but you're pretty fucking driven. But like there is a little bit of a gap, I'd say.
Of course. And
that's fine.
Even if there's two people in a relationship who are both like growth oriented, there will always be periods where you're not going to exactly match each other with how you're progressing.
You've had a couple of periods of depression, so have I, like during 2020.
Spots. Yeah, where you stagnate and you don't do much. That's the nature of like working on goals.
Yeah.
And yeah, you're not going to ever perfectly match in a relationship. You're two different people.
Yeah, but as long as you have the concept, even when I was in my rut and you were in you've been in a couple of ruts, I've probably been in one long rut for 2020. When we were in those ruts, the mindset was like, I want to get through this rut. Like, I'm not being ultra productive and ultra happy right now, but like, I want to fix this. That has to be the general. That's what we're talking about when we say growth mindset.
Yep.
You're not always going to be perfect. I think you guys get what I mean, but you can't get with someone who's just like, I don't really have any ambitions. So you could also phrase it as ambitious. They don't have to be as ambitious as you. They don't have to want to make $1 million or something, but they have to have ambitions of like, you know, I want to look after my body and look better and better every year. One day I would like to open an art gallery or something, or, you know, I want to be the best mother I could ever be, and I want to just literally be the best mother to my children ever. And you go, okay, that's some growth mindset. They obviously have to show you some proof that they have a growth mindset. Lots of people will tell you they have goals, and you say, are you working on them? No. And so they have to actually be working on it. And sometimes you can push them. I pushed you in the early days, and it didn't take much pushing. I just gently encouraged you. But yeah, you guys get that. And then the final thing I will give you guys, this is what I forgot before, but I remembered. The best advice for a relationship, other than having a growth mindset, having a winner's mindset, you know, going all in and deciding you're going to commit and make it great, is something that my mother told me. And I've said this story several times. When I said to my mother, hey, mother dearest, mummy dear, why are you and my father, dad, my daddy, why are you still together after like 40 years or however long they've been together? And why are you two still happy? How did, like, what? Tell me the secret. Tell me the fucking ingredients, the secret sauce. How did you do this? She gave me a few bits of advice, but the first thing she said was, Andy, you won't always like each other. In a relationship, you will not always like each other, and that's okay. There have been times where I really didn't like your father, and there's been times when your father really didn't like me. And that's okay. As long as you make the commitment and you understand it's okay to not like each other sometimes. And she didn't phrase it exactly like this, but she basically said, every problem has a solution. That was kind of the gist of the conversation. She said, when you're in that period where you don't like each other, you can work through it. Sometimes you just have to wait and like keep doing the things that will, like, don't wait and do nothing. Like, work through the depression or work through your lack of respect for them. Maybe they let you down and they disappoint you. Work through that. Work through that together. Work through that on your own. Process it. Spend time with each other. Sometimes spend time apart. But like, you're not always going to like each other, and that's perfectly okay. I've said this to you so many times when you've been in a period where you're like, I don't feel the tingles that I used to feel. Like, I don't feel the excitement. Fuck. Is the relationship, like, are we falling out of love? And I say, remember, I told you sometimes we won't like each other.
Sure. And I think a big part, or at least what I take from what your mum said, was the essence that I got from it was have realistic expectations.
Yeah, don't sit there and think it's going to be a Disney fairy tale every fucking day.
There's going to be periods where it's not nice and it kind of sucks. But if you keep working on it, you will get through that. It's not getting too obsessed about the times when it doesn't feel bad and getting so worried about it, because I definitely did.
Yeah.
There were points in the relationship where I got really worried because
Yeah,
I
you
really wasn't enjoying myself.
Yeah.
But I think from there, changing those expectations and being like, okay, I don't particularly like you right now. And from there it was, okay, let's go and make sure I'm still having a nice time doing other things.
Yep.
And that was kind of the solution in those instances. It was like, okay, but I'm still going to have a great life. Like, the relationship isn't 100% of it. I'm going to go and really enjoy my hobbies and my art and see my friends a lot and go for lots of like, just have my own life going on. And that was the solution to that, really, because all of a sudden I just felt a lot better as a person, and so I had more happy energy to bring into the relationship when I would spend time with you.
Yeah, so that's another little nugget of wisdom we can give you guys is don't put all the expectations on the other person. Don't put the burden of your happiness on the person you're in a relationship with. So what we mean there is when you're going through those periods where you don't like each other and you feel unhappy, your unhappiness is your fucking issue. It's like the joke, you know, like I actually said this to you at one point, I remember, where you said to me, you know, I'm not very happy. And I said, that sounds like a you problem. Like that's a personal problem. That's you. That's you. How am I supposed to make you happy? And I remember we had this one moment, maybe you can remember it at your house, where I said, look, I love you. I care about you. I would love to just like snap my fingers and make you happy. I said to you, what do you need? Right now you're telling me you're unhappy and you're kind of making it my problem. Like you're saying I'm supposed to make you happy. So I said, all right, let's entertain this. What would you like me to do? What do I need to do to make you happy? You tell me exactly what I need to do to make you happy, and I will do that. And I remember you said, you know, you were crying and you said, I do, and I said, no, tell me exactly what you need to do, what I need to do to make you happy. And you said, I need you to hug me and just hold me. And so I hugged you and held you for like 15 minutes. I didn't say a word, I shut my mouth. I just gave you exactly what you wanted. I gave you the very thing you said would make you happy. I held you for 15 minutes and then I said, how do you feel? And you were still crying and you said, I don't feel any better. And I said, okay, that didn't work. You are telling me that I have to make you happy. Tell me again, you can tell me something different now. What would you like me to do to make you happy? You tell me whatever. And I can't remember what you said. You said something like, listen to me or whatever. Something like that. And I listened for like an hour. I gave you the very thing you wanted that you said would make you happy. And then I said, okay, I gave you the thing you wanted. How do you feel? And you said, I don't feel any better. And I said, bam. Like, we can keep playing this game forever, but I think you realized it, and you did realize it. I said, your happiness is not my, like, I will help. That's part of a relationship. Like, there's been plenty of times you cheer me up, I cheer. Like, that's part of the gift that you give each other. But it is a gift. It's not a requirement. It's not my job to make you happy. And it's not your job to make me happy. And in fact, often we can't. And we talked through it, and you know, you did some journaling and you processed things, and you read some self-help books and watched some useful YouTube videos and podcasts, and you came to the realization of like, fuck, my happiness is my responsibility. If I want to be happy, I got to make myself fucking happy. I can't be an incomplete piece of the puzzle and then come to a relationship and expect that, you know, other person to make me feel good. Like, I got to be happy, and then I bring that, and that's a gift that I share with the other person. And if I'm not happy, fuck me, man. I got to go to my friends. I got to go to my hobbies. I got to go to my counselor. I got to do this. You know, we've spent thousands of dollars at this point on like life coaches and spiritual coaches and mental health coaches and stuff like that. That's another useful thing we can give you guys. Don't be afraid to spend money on, you know, I wouldn't say relationship counselors, although plenty of you will benefit from that. It's like, do it one-on-one. Like, get your own, if you're unhappy in a relationship, go and pay someone to talk to about that shit. Like, you got to fix your own happiness. So that's a big one. Very important one. And I've had the same point. I've had points of time where I feel unhappy and I use you. Like, I use you for self-medication. I go like, all right, I'm unhappy today. Let me get Imogen to come over and we can cuddle, and then I'll feel better. And I catch myself doing that. And I'm like, fuck, no, I'm trying to make her make me happy. Fuck. Why am I unhappy? What's going on? And I will do an inventory of my own emotions and what's going on in my head. And I'll go, okay, fuck. I'm unhappy because I haven't done a podcast for a while. Or I'm unhappy because I haven't been sleeping. I'm unhappy because I've been doing this or self-medicating or whatever it is. And I will fix that. And then I won't expect the other person to fix it. And I think people go wrong in a relationship when they say, it's your job. The relationship needs to make me happy. You have to listen to me because I'm sad.
Yeah, I think it's a very easy thing to do when a relationship can bring you a lot of joy. And I think the way that's maybe helpful to look at it is that like your life should be like a fully complete cake, and like the relationship and any relationships you have should be the icing. Yeah. Like, you need to be a whole happy person.
Yep.
And then all of the like amazing joyful moments that you get to share with other people, they're just like, it's the cherry on top. Like, you don't need that to make you feel whole. Yeah.
You don't want to need the other person. You want to want them. I don't need you. I've made this abundantly clear, like in hundreds of podcasts. Okay, maybe not hundreds, but a couple of podcasts. I don't need you. I want you. You don't need me. You want me. It's like, it has to be a bonus. So let's talk a little bit about marriage, I guess. I guess we can talk about commitments and stuff like that. Sure. while we talk about this, let's put the fucking video on the screen of me. Let's go through some of the other pictures, because I haven't like talked about all the pictures and the videos and shit. So I'll leave them on screen while we talk about some stuff, so you guys have some cool shit to look at. That's me in the chair, smiling at Imogen, going like, why are you taking a fucking photo of me? Actually, no, I asked you to take this photo, didn't I?
You did ask me to.
Yeah, but I'm still giving you that fuck off look of like, why are you taking a photo? So marriage, why don't I want to get married? I think I kind of touched on this. I kind of knew when I was young, like 14, 15 in school, I was like, I don't really believe in the institution of marriage just because the divorce rate is that high. And I wasn't someone that wanted kids. And so I don't recommend anyone gets married if they don't want kids. Funnily enough, and you can all do what you want to do. This is just my recommendation. Take it with a million grains of salt. At the end of the day, I want you guys to do what you want to do. But if someone was having kids, I would probably recommend that they get married. Or at the very least, make some sort of commitment. Like get the wife to take on his last name. Some sort of commitment to each other. Get fucking matching tattoos. Like some commitment to say like, we're going to commit. Write a contract, for fuck's sake. If you don't want to get married, just write a contract. Have a civil union. Most countries do that, but write on a piece of paper, here are the contracts for the relationship, here, or the marriage. Here is what we want, or the union. You know, you have to have a growth mindset. I have to have a growth mindset. We're not always going to like each other. That's okay. Here's my deal breakers. Here's yours. Like you and I did this.
Yep.
After we'd been together for a couple of years, we wrote down like the commitments of the relationship. And you wrote down things like, you can't cheat on me. Cheating being me having sex with someone else without like you being there, or me telling you at least, or something like that. I said the same thing. You said you can't ever abuse me, like you can't ever hit me. I said similar things. We wrote down like the deal breakers, and then we wrote down the positive things as well. Like I said, I need you to always care about your body. You can't ever just go to shit. You said the same to me. Yep. Like we can't ever get fat, or if we get fat, like that might happen. You might go through depression. You know, life happens, but you got to like work on losing the weight. You can't just get fat and then be like, you have to love me as I am. It's like, no, that was not in the contract. The contract was you can't get fat. And then
you need to look after yourself. Yeah,
you have to give a shit about your appearance. Like stuff like that. And so if you're going to get into a serious relationship, or you're going to upgrade a relationship to a very serious one, or you're going to get married, or you're going to just raise kids together without marriage, whatever it is, I would recommend some sort of like contract. Let's put a different picture on here. Here is me after the tattoo. They always wrap your tattoo in cling wrap. So I would recommend some sort of contract that you write for each other, and take your time with it. And you can update it over the first couple of months, but maybe update it over the first year or so as you figure stuff out. But have some sort of commitment. Like here's my deal breakers, so that if, you know, she does start getting fat, like maybe she gains, you know, like be reasonable. But if she gains like 15 pounds, maybe start saying, hey, sweetie, you know, I'm starting to lose attractiveness for you. You promised me that, and she goes, oh, fuck yeah, I did. And same, like, you know, she can keep you accountable.
Yeah, I think on the idea of talking about expectations or a contract, it's funny how many implied rules or expectations there are in relationships, and then no one ever talks about it at all.
Yeah.
And then there's like, it comes up later down the track of like all of these expectations that never got voiced, and people saying like, you were meant to, or you weren't allowed to, without
no, wait, let me interrupt. Or the way they will say it is like, a good husband does this, or a good boyfriend should do this, or you're supposed to. It's like we never said that
conversation. Yeah, there was never an explicit conversation about expectations, and I think that's kind of what the contract is. It's just understanding, like, making sure you're on the same page to your partner.
Yeah.
And knowing what you want from them, so you can be very, very clear about when things aren't in line with what you want out of the relationship.
Yeah, it's having fucking expectation. It's knowing what you want, because the other person's not in your head. They don't know. Like, guys, your girlfriend doesn't know that you don't want her to get fat. I know that might sound insane to you. You're like, but she should, like, what the fuck? If you haven't said it, how does she know that? She might think like, no, he loves me. He'll still love me if I gain 20 pounds. If you, it's not that you won't love her, but you know, if that's a deal breaker to you, like if you have to be sexually attracted to your woman, which is the case for almost every man, just most men don't voice that, then fucking tell her. Women, if your requirement of your man is that he has to have a job or a hustle or a career or some sort of income, which for most women, that is actually a fucking requirement. Like they won't be able to respect the man if he's not putting some fucking bread on the table. And he doesn't have to be giving her that money, but he just has to be in some sort of like
Yeah, there's very
hustle.
few women that would be okay with supporting their man.
Yeah, yeah. And if you are, great, brilliant. But for the women who aren't, which is a hell of a lot of women, maybe most, you gotta fucking say that. And I know that might sound insane to you. You're like, but but I want a boyfriend that will just want to. No, none of this. Like, I want someone who will just. You need to say what you actually want.
Yeah.
That's the other thing people do, where they're like, but I want a girlfriend that knows that she shouldn't gain weight. It's like, so you want a mind reader.
Yeah.
You want a fucking mind reader. Good luck with that. I hope you find that. Tell me when you do, because that'd be fucking sick. Imagine if I would like to be friends with this woman, and I can ask her. I'll say I'll pay you $1,000, and you can just read other people's minds. That'd be cool. Like, you can read their bank passwords, and you can tell me the lottery. Like, fuck, that'd be so sweet. So when you find that woman, please reach out to me. But until you find that woman, none of this fucking mind reading shit. Say what you want. Write it on a fucking contract.
Yeah, like when we did it, there was like very basic things, and people would be like, "You don't need to say that," but it was like, "You can't hit me." Like, you can't be physically abused. Like, and people be like, you shouldn't need to say that. And it's like,
you shouldn't need to say that. Okay, so what about the one time when you're having a fight and he's really angry and he literally thinks like, man, I want to fucking hit her. If he knows, no, she told me she'll leave me if I do, that might be the thing that stops him doing it. And then the next thing people say is, yeah, but I don't want to be with someone who would, that I have to tell not to do that. Okay, so good luck with your relationships then. Good luck with I give up. Like, if that's your attitude of like, the other person should just know what I want, good fucking luck, because you're never going to find it. With that logic, every single friend should know when I need consoling. Every single partnership or relationship I'm in, they should just know when I need sex, when I need some space, when I need a hug, when I need a massage, when I've had a hard day and I just need, them to leave me alone a bit. They should know when I'm hungry and when I want food. They should know when I'm too tired to go hang out with, go to a party or something. They should know when I'm super excited and want to go out clubbing or something with them or go to a bar. Anyone that I might coach or anyone that I might get into a business sort of relationship with, they should just know that I want money. They should just give me money. Like, everyone should just read my fucking mind, right? For some reason, people just go insane with relationships. For some reason in relationships, people often go, the other person should just know what I want. I shouldn't have to tell them.
Comes back to that, like, it needs to, like, it should require no effort. Effort. It's going to be perfect and magical the whole time. Like, it's just going to happen. Yeah,
it's like, you're welcome to go and find that. Please. Like, go for it. It's not up to me to tell you what to do. I'm making recommendations. If you want to go and find the person that will just know what you want and you don't ever have to tell them and you shouldn't have to tell them to do the basics, please. Like, go find that. Come back to me in 5 years and say, fuck, man, my life kind of sucks. You were right, Andy. Or you can decide to go all in and tell the other person what you want, write these contracts, do all of this stuff. Women, this absolutely applies to you. I think women do this more too. I think women are more passive because I think Disney and, it's not just Disney,
because I think
Hollywood.
The man's meant to find you.
Yeah. So women have this notion of like, I'm just going to sit there and wait for the one. It's like, good luck.
Yeah.
You might find the one, but good luck. You're probably not going to. You'll find a one. Like who wins a fucking race by just saying, I'm just going to hope that the race fucking wins me? Who wins first place at something going like, I hope that I just win the first place? Or are you actually going to like, who goes, I'm going to, pass this test 100% without studying? Or who enters a race and goes, without actually training for the race or the sport beforehand, I'm going to win first place. Like, no, what the fuck? You have to put in some level of effort, some level of screening, some level of commitment, some level of training and practice, some level of knowing what you want and then going for it. Nobody wins. And is your mission, guys or girls, is your mission to just have an okay relationship? If so, go. You're allowed to do the Hollywood Disney shit of just like, I'll see what happens. But if you want to have the best relationship that you are capable of, you need to put some effort into it, some thought, some screening, some conscious intent. Intent is the word that I'm looking for. Have some intent. Mm-hmm. So yeah, people definitely do that in relationships. So sit down and write a contract of the stuff you want from them and don't demand it of them. Like, don't say, I'll make something clear when you do this, and only do this, by the way, when you're in a serious relationship. Like, don't do this before maybe a year or two of being in a relationship. Don't do this within the first 3 months. At the first 3 months, you don't even fucking know each other. I know you think you do, but you don't. So wait a year or two. And when you do this, what you do is you write your list of things and try and keep it concise. Like, don't have a 100 dot point list. That's just too much. Sure. I think our list was about 5 things each.
It's big things, yeah.
Yeah, big important things, but only 5 of them. And give it to the other person and say, what do you think about this? Like, is this something you want to commit to? Don't say,
you need to do this.
Yeah, and don't say, is this something you can commit to? Say, do you want to? Like, what do you want? What do you want? No pressure. You're allowed to say no, and we can just keep this relationship fairly casual. That's fine. But would you like to do this? Do you think? And you showed me your list, and I looked through all of it, and I was like, that's very reasonable. I want to do these things for you. Or I'm not even doing it for you. I'm doing it for myself. This is the kind, it's more like you're saying, this is the kind of man that I want to be in a relationship. Yes. And then you say, you look at my list and you say, yeah, I would like to be this kind of woman in a relationship. Yeah. I agree with these things. These are reasonable. And I actually added some more things to the list, and you added some things to the list. What I mean by that is you gave me your list of like deal breakers and things that you wanted from a relationship. And I said, oh, but what about this as well? Would you like a man who does this as well? And you were like, oh yeah, I would. And I was like, good, because that's the kind of man I want to be. And you added some shit to my list as well. You were like, oh, but like, I want to be this kind of woman. Do you want that? And I was like, oh, fuck, I didn't even think of that. Yes, yes, yes. That's a good thing to add to the contract. Good job.
Yep.
So you're saying, do we both want to do this? It's not a lock in, try and trap the person and make them do this and hold them hostage to the contract. And no, it's like you both have to, with eyes wide open, go into this fully knowing this is what you want. And if you're not sure, that's fine. Take your time until you are sure. And if you're never sure, okay, there you go. That's the answer. Just keep it casual. This isn't like you have to take this next step. Let's make that clear. You don't have to get into a serious relationship. You could just have a casual relationship for years if you want to, as long as you're both happy. So don't feel like you have to do this shit. This is all advice for if you decide you want to be in a marriage or you want to be in a serious relationship. Only get married if you believe in it. Only do the contract shit if you believe in it.
If you want to make a commitment.
Yeah. Only make a commitment if you want to. Don't make a commitment just because enough time has passed. This is the other thing that normal people do, like average people do. It's like, oh, we've been together for a year, so we have to get into a relationship. Why?
Yeah.
What the fuck? That's the worst. Okay, by that logic, after 3 years, you just have to have kids because it's been that long. And most people would do that.
Yeah.
They go like, oh, it's been 3 years, so...
It's that or like pressure from like external parties,
Yeah.
whether that's like the other person or
Yep.
like family, or that's like, oh, you shouldn't be like... Other people chiming in saying like you should be committing, you should be doing X, Y, Z.
Yep, which is just a terrible, terrible way to start a marriage or a relationship or a parenthood. So fuck me, your kids deserve better than to just exist because you felt pressured for them to exist. You're bringing another life into the world, for fuck's sakes. Have some respect for that. There is a responsibility that comes along with that. Don't just do it because, like, well, you know, my family pressured me, or, you know, I feel like I'm getting old a bit, so, you know, we've been together for like 3 years and she deserves kids. It's like, she doesn't deserve jack shit. Like, she deserves what the fuck? Your kids deserve better than you just giving life to them because you felt like mum deserved it for no fucking reason. No, have kids because you both want it. I guess we already talked about this, but I was going to say, like, why have we been together for 4 years? We already talked about all those points.
I mean, yeah, it's all of the things that we recommend doing.
Yeah, we've made a conscious decision to do all of that. We've been okay with parts where I didn't like you or you didn't like me. That happens a lot less now.
Yeah.
We got through the rough parts, but it's worth keeping in mind. Like, even 20, 30 years into my parents' marriage, there were a couple, like, my dad was depressed for a year, and he wasn't particularly nice to be around, and he wasn't nice to my mum. And my mum made it very clear to me, like, quietly. She didn't say it in front of my father because she's a very, like, nice, respectful. She doesn't undermine her husband, which is another important thing. Don't undermine your partner. Maybe we can do do a separate video on that. Always talk your partner up. Always say nice things about them. If you have nothing nice to say, don't say anything. But my mother quietly to me at one point, when I asked her, I said, like, are you okay? I know Dad's really depressed and I can see you doing your best. And she's like, yep, I don't really like your father right now at all. But I'm being a good wife and I'm going to stay and I will support him and love him and push him to grow and work on himself and work through his depression. And she did. She got him counselors. She pushed him she like went to some of his friends and said, like, can you please have an intervention with my husband? Like, can you just take him out fishing and see if he'll talk to you? And the friends were like, yeah, I know he's depressed. I will do that. Yep, I'll definitely do that. So she supported him and pushed him. And then, yeah, he came out of it and they're happy now. And so there will be periods where you don't like each other. That's okay. Every day wake up to be, like, aim to be a better person, better individual person, and then better as a couple. We've done that every day. Really, if you just focus on yourself and aim to be a better person by yourself, the relationship will just grow anyway. You do have to work on it, obviously, as we said, or like, not work on it, care for it. Like, water your plants, water the relationship, keep it flourishing. But yeah, if you just focus mostly on yourself, you will have more than enough to give to the other person. So focus on yourself first. I think that's got to be fucking clear. and have that growth mindset. So advice to anyone else wanting to get in a relationship or already in one, go all in, decide that you're going to make it the best relationship of all time. Do all the stuff that we said here. Watch this podcast a couple of times probably.
Yeah.
I think it's a pretty decent podcast. And obviously don't do all this stuff until you've been dating for at least a year. I would recommend 2 years, but fine, a year. But definitely not before a year. Like, don't get into a serious relationship before a year. That doesn't mean you can't have feelings for each other. That doesn't mean you can't love each other. I'm not saying that. I'm saying having a fucking serious committed relationship, don't do that until you've known her and, she's known you for at least a year. At least a year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's finish up. I didn't show this. This is like a cool video of me getting a fucking tattoo. Look at that. It looks really cool. I like how she flicks across. She's doing like shading. Any of you have had a tattoo? Those of you who haven't, you're probably surprised by, look how much ink there is. See all that black area that she's doing? And then when she wipes it away, that's all excess ink there. Look, when she wipes it away, nothing there.
Yeah, it's like a super light shade.
Yeah. So it's funny that the whole time your arm is like drenched in ink and it just looks like this black smudgy mess, and then she'll wipe it away and there's like no ink there. It only puts a tiny bit of ink in at a time. It's very, very small, but it's a very messy, like there's lots of excess ink because that tip that she's using, she basically dips it into ink. Although no, I think that's not the dipping one. No, it's not. She has another one that she dips into ink, and then when she puts it on your arm is just a fucking like, I don't know how they tattoo. It's a weird art form. It's like if you were trying to paint, but the entire page was covered in paint while you're trying to paint. It's like there's messy shit everywhere. It's a weird medium. Anyway, she did a good job. Doesn't hurt that much. If you guys want a tattoo, go get a fucking tattoo. They're cool. If you don't. I'll finish up by saying, please just be more intentional in your relationships, or when you upgrade someone to a relationship, or if you're already in a relationship, remember that you can, if you're not fully happy in your relationship, you can turn that ship around. Remember that you're also allowed to leave. Like, I think it's worth us giving permission that if you're really, really not happy and you've done all the stuff we have on here, and you really try and solve every problem, and you actually fully commit, maybe you go to some counseling, maybe you get counseling for yourself, you read some self-help books, maybe you do couples counseling. If it's still not working, like, guys and girls, you're allowed to leave. Like, I see so many people stay in a relationship that's just not great, and they've done what they can to fix it or to right that ship, but it's not working.
There's other people out there. Or it's better that you are not in a relationship, you're single, and you're happy.
And working on yourself,
than being with someone and being unhappy.
Yeah. I've had quite a few coaching clients where it's like they're in a relationship and I counsel them, like one recently, and it's like, you're allowed to leave. Like, I give you permission. You don't need my permission, but maybe you do need someone's permission. Give yourself the permission. You're allowed to leave. You don't have to stay. So if you guys want coaching, I'll leave a link in the description below. I'm super passionate, if you couldn't tell. We're both pretty passionate about like relationships and shit. So I'd like to have more coaching clients where I talk about relationship stuff. I've done it a little bit and it's really fucking fun. I really genuinely enjoy it. So even if you're just wanting a relationship, a couple of the guys in the group and a couple of my one-on-one coaching clients right now, one of them in particular, a guy I just had a call with a couple hours before this, his goal is like marriage and kids, and he wants to get the best relationship of all time. So I really like when someone comes to me and they're like, look, man, Andy, I know that you talk a lot about having a lot of sex and being kinky and doing all this shit, but I think I just want marriage and kids and like a conservative fucking like, Christian. I've like this guy, I don't think he's Christian, but he's like, his parents are Christian. And it's like, yeah, I love that shit. Like, I get really passionate about that. And I don't know if respect is the right word, but it's nice. It's humbling. It's nice when someone comes to me and says like, Andy, listen, I know you talk mostly about sex and stuff like that, but I think I trust you enough that I would like to hear your opinion and get your help on building a relationship. I like that. It's nice. And I've worked with enough guys like that where I genuinely really fucking enjoy it. I think this is probably going to happen more over time. Maybe I'm already there, honestly. I think I'm more passionate about relationships than getting laid at this point.
Yeah.
Because it's like,
more relevant?
Yeah, because we're in a relationship. And like, we have a lot of sex. You and I have a lot of sex with girls and stuff. But like, and I'm happy to keep coaching you guys on that. I'll do that forever. But like, I think I'm ready for the relationship stuff now. I'm ready to do more and more of that. It's fun working with that. I think I'm more passionate about that at the moment. Business as well. I'm super passionate about helping people with business and making more money. I think because we just hit the 50,000. So yeah, if you guys want coaching, link in the description below. And then go out there and crush your goals and have the best goddamn relationship you can. Decide it's going to be the best relationship of all time.